Special good morning once again to the listeners. Special good morning to the viewers. Welcome to today's edition of To The Point, Monday, the 24th day of August, 2026. On online listeners, especially those of you via social media platforms, Facebook page, YouTube channels, those of you via gbn.gd, that's the webpage. Good morning to you. Thanks for being with us this morning. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome. Nice to have back with us, Mr. McIntrye, back with us this morning. Of course, good morning. How everybody doing? Mr. McPhail, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, GT. By extension, good morning to the GBN family, or listeners, or followers, or viewers, or contributors to the program. Welcome. Good morning, everybody.
All right. No intro from you this morning, Mr. McPhail? I think you let Sylvan take all the.
I was giving him the
but
age before beauty, eh?
Yeah. So what is the age and what is the difference in the beauty? You know, I know men don't carry beauty. I know we should be handsome people.
That's one of the part of the conversation. I'm going to stay quiet.
I
will stay quiet.
But So I was out last week, obviously on engagements that involve national issues, etc. And I followed the program.
Right.
Again, you guys, thanks. And the contribution from our followers, they're very useful and meaningful as usual.
All right. Yeah, well, we the program last week. Of course, you always miss when your contribution is always fruitful. We certainly did miss you not being here, but of course, myself and Mr. McPhail, we hold our end, and of course, to the listeners and viewers that chimed in with us also, we thank God for a whole lot. Over the weekend, from time to time, we still hear a lot of conversation in terms of, and I still want to get your views on that, and I think it's something that is becoming a little becoming road rage in Grenada, sir.
Yes. But before we actually touch the substantive issue, I think while I was out and coming out from the carnival, etc., I followed a particular entity, and I think that's the marijuana cannabis commission, commission or committee, whatever it is. And I thought they needed some flowers. I remember us speaking on previous programs in terms of the misunderstanding of decriminalization of the cannabis, and what are some of the guidance and guiding principle, and how people tend to misinterpret what actually that process. And I remember us speaking about the information campaign, and we thought that much more should have been done. And I'm really pleased to say that during the carnival in particular, and post-carnival, the information process has really increased. They've been doing some work. I don't know if they're doing community consultations, but the process in terms of the ad, I think they brought in popular theatric and so forth actors to really punctuate what it really means. And I think they definitely need some flowers.
I think so as well. Well, I'm not sure how much effect it had, because
that's all we're going to chime in on.
Juve morning, for example, I saw at least 5 guys, different locations along Port Highway, sitting in the road, rolling marijuana, selling, in the public.
I agree with you with that.
I'm happy
for the campaign that was. I think I did mention to you that when the last time I had a rep from the committee here, and they did mention they was getting into that public campaign and within information related. Timely of the information, we could say yes because of the season and so forth that we were in. But I would agree with what Mr. McPhail said. Did it really get to who it need to get to?
Right.
In terms of the information going on.
Right.
When X, Y, or Z is out there having a merry time, he's not listening to a particular campaign about telling him how he shouldn't be using marijuana in a particular venue or like that. I don't think they would pay the attention to that. Right. So I think it should be ongoing, because now we're not seeing much of it anymore.
Or hearing much about
it anymore.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. Visitors coming to the island, how many of them are paying attention to information of that particular nature?
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
Even though it may be in the country that they came from, it may have a level of freedom for them to use it, if you can say that. But how much of them are listening to that? When they go into the different events and fetes and so forth, who pays attention to that? You understand?
Yeah, but with all fairness to the process, it's better late than never, and it's better done than not done at all.
I agree.
And I think that even if they did it At that time, you're not able to assess how many persons may have listen to the information. So despite you may have seen people doing certain things, I just think the mere fact that they increased what they were doing in the past is a plus.
It's a plus.
And I think what need to complement that though is the enforcement process. I think if police officers or law enforcement are not necessarily arresting people because they misunderstand or misinterpret, I think there should be more engagement and letting them know it is not legal. What you're doing is still illegal, but you're getting a break because X, Y, and Z, and this is what should happen. And oftentimes, when you speak to people in that manner, because in my own professional career, when you speak to people and inform them of the offense and tell them what it could lead to, they usually give you a level of respect and apologize and say, oh, Officer X, Y, and Z, and even if sometimes they are aware. But when you engage them in that kind of a way, without bullying them by letting them know you're doing an offense and so forth. And sometimes
the attitude changes.
The attitude definitely changes. Because I've seen persons in the past where I moved around, saw people with marijuana and said, do you know that it is illegal? Or otherwise, and they would wrap it up, they destroy it. Also, sometimes I would have taken it from them, destroy it in their presence, get rid of it, etc. And we had no problem. You know, and I think the engagement, letting them know what it is sometimes just that little bit that is needed to let people know, well, listen, you're doing something illegal, you could be prosecuted for it, rather than sometimes you allow it to be there and then you just try to just clamp on people suddenly. So the process is good. The upbeat from, I think, two angles was Ministry of Health. They increased the campaign and they spoke a lot about the tuberculosis, and then they spoke about STDs and all these things. Usually around those times, those information campaigns are enhanced. But what we're seeing post festive seasons, we need to be hearing more about that. And as we roll into road traffic and road safety, which is our foundation issue, we would want to be able to elaborate on whether or not we have done enough preparing or returning national and visitors in terms of road safety as well. So what is lacking, I think, nationally is that we do not capitalize sufficiently on the momentum and the opportunity for getting information across when we should. And following that, we have to ride on the way for longer periods or just build or beat on it, including disaster-related information during the hurricane season. You find a lot of things, you speak about it in May, early June, and then it dies away a little bit, and then we forget to speak about other things until something actually happened. Our whole information process, really across road safety or otherwise, really need to be enhanced.
Yes, you need to be beefed up some more. And you know, going back to the same cannabis issue, I think the problem I'm getting from a lot of individuals when you're in communication, I don't think they still do understand the level of decriminalization and legalization. And I think that's where it's need to understand some more. And I think that's where the conversation.
And with the campaign,
a lot of people thinking, no, it's legal for me to smoke. But this decriminalization is a key part of it. It's not legal. And I
listened to the message carefully, and I thought they made a special effort to really try for people to understand, to differentiate that what it meant. I saw for the carnival as well, though at least I saw one person with about a 3 or 4 feet marijuana tree walking through. I am not dreaming this. I saw it. At least one guy had an entire cannabis tree, a marijuana, kushung peng, weed, ganja tree.
That was an old mass display or something?
No, regular. He was walking with it. He had it. Maybe he wanted to show, well, weed is okay now. And he was walking through from my vantage position where I was. I saw him with the plant. The plant was not less than 3 feet long, to be honest, and they had branches on it, and he was walking through with his plant. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see anybody took a picture of it, but it says a lot to incorporate what Richard was saying earlier on that. And you see this ever so often. People just sitting by the roadside and they fold.
But I must say, the campaign has continued, even after.
It is going on.
Yes,
it's ongoing, right?
Yes, it's ongoing. And I hope they add up to this morning.
Yes. Okay. And as we go into the new school year, starting August. You know, Richard, growing up, you always thought that people who went to school in August, they were not very, they were dunce.
Yes,
I didn't want to use the word dunce. But no,
Someone will tell you what happened. You went to school in August.
That's correct, because August
was on vacation, right?
Right.
But TAMCC starts in August every year.
You know why the reason people said August, if you went to school in August, right?
Yeah, I know.
Why?
If you possess a level of illiteracy, or you're not illiterate to a point, so we say, well, since you don't know anything, you went to school in August.
Because August is supposed to be home.
Nobody in school, so you were there.
Right. Yeah. The other angle to that too is that in August, I remember the planting season used to be around June, Corpus Christi time, right?
Yeah.
And the August period used to be very hot.
Yeah.
To dry corn and so on. You know that? You're old enough to know that?
Yes.
So people used to get corn down the road. So they'll tell you if you go into school around them time not hot, so they can't be, because your brain actually will be fried. So if you tell you when to school in August, it's really an insult.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing school opening in August, which says that climate change, climate variability.
I think it's like a first for me. I don't think I've ever saw a school opening in I know September, maybe early September.
Early September.
I've never heard
early
of
September.
You understand? But I've never. I know for maybe for the TAMCC and so forth. There are times they open up within the August month.
Yeah.
But I've never seen for the primary and secondary school.
Did you hear about the rationale for that though?
Oh, sure. I don't know.
It has to do with the
timing. So the years get longer?
No.
But school closed pretty early in July.
In July they did. So what's the reason for that though?
For the reason, well, usually it's a 2-month period for the.
I know 6 weeks. When I was going to school, it was always 6 weeks. It was 6 weeks. August holidays it was tell us 6 weeks.
Is it 6 to 8? Not mostly 8 weeks. Most time.
Mostly.
Well, I know when I was going to school, it's like you hear what there's a 6-week break during the.
I think that's when Mr. McIntrye went to school.
That's a while there.
Gentlemen, we drew for a break. Let's take it. Then we come back. We come back with our substantive conversation. Stay with us, folks, on the Point Classic Radio GBN TV. We will be right back.
Affordable quality products delivered to you via superb service. We are Superb Distributors, wholesalers and authorized agents for trusted products you know and love, like Rika Juices, Pure Heaven products, Bibbin diapers, New Bright laundry detergent, Allegra pasta, and more.
Contact Superb Distributors at 435-2948 for superb quality and service.
Grenada, we're back again. Faith Pentecostal Tabernacle presents Turning Point 4, grand finale, taking place at the Gateway Conference Center, Saturday, September the 5th, 2026 at 7 p.m. sharp. Come and find out what will happen to Officer Brown. Will he finally get married? How about Sheila? Will she ever stop the gossip and have a turnaround? How about the ghost, Raymond? Will he ever be found? All these and more will be answered at Turning Point 4, the grand finale. Your tickets cost $50 more at the door. Don't forget your ticket outlet, Gittins Pharmacy, St. George, and Grand Anse. Turning Point 4, the finale.
Should I have seen that? Listen to me. Don't question, you know I'm gifted. Okay?
Your Honor, something has to be wrong here.
No, nothing is wrong.
Brothers and sisters, I'm blocking out.
You may not always have your ATM card on you, but that shouldn't stop you from accessing your money. With Republic Bank's cardless cash service, you can withdraw cash from any ATM without using your debit card. It's simple to use. Just log into your Republic Bank app, select cardless cash, enter the amount you need and generate the one-time code. At the ATM, enter your code, confirm your details, and you're done. No card needed. It's useful when you left your wallet behind and when you need to send cash to someone else securely. With cardless cash, you stay in control and in touch with your money wherever you are. Republic Bank, ready for life, every step.
The Caribbean's highly anticipated international drags returns to the Spice Isle of Grenada. The Grenada Motor Club proudly presents the King Ocean International Drags, September 26th and 27th at the Pearls International Speedway. Get ready for what is anticipated to be one of the largest international drag racing events the Caribbean has ever seen. Witness some of the fastest and most powerful drag racing machines in the Caribbean, along with international participation from across the region, North America and South America. 2 days of speed, power, adrenaline, and non-stop action. And it doesn't stop at drag racing. Expect some special drift entertainment, appearances from some of the Caribbean's top influencers, and so much more. Mark the date, September 26th and 27th. The King Ocean International Drag. The Caribbean is coming to the Spice Isle. You don't want to miss this one.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, gentlemen. Well, of course, our listeners and viewers once again via social media platforms. Welcome. It's To The Point Monday, the 24th day of August. Gentlemen, once again, as I mentioned, welcome back. One of our focus conversation in this segment, we want to talk about, road safety guidelines.
Yes.
You mentioned that when you came in, Mr. McIntyre, and it tickled my mind a whole lot, especially the just wrapped up, carnival season and so forth. Visitors visit us a whole lot. We saw issues where visitors were going wrong directions.
Yes.
And so forth. We hear numerous accidents involving visitors and, some locals alike. Those safety guidelines that should be more visible.
Yes.
And talked about. Last week, myself and Mr. Of course, Mr. McPhail spoke about that a wee bit, but we just kind of brushed the surface of it in reference to that, because we were saying those campaigns of that nature should be ongoing. Just like we talked about the cannabis thing a while ago.
Yes.
Campaign of that nature, sharing information to folks when they're visiting the island, in terms of directions and so forth. Maybe more signs could be erected for the season. Or just things that will just help individuals while they're using the roads. Let's hear your views on that, sir.
Okay, good. So the conversation, the genesis of it really fans out from the concern for, as you know, road safety. And it is really established, understood that during the festive season, in particular Carnival, that there are more accidents, and sometimes we have fatalities. I followed what happened throughout, and it is also indicating that our span of safety goes beyond just on the road. So we look at the marine situation in terms of we've had unfortunate deaths that are now currently under investigation. And we have one situation of an alleged missing person at sea just as well that was allegedly swimming. So the whole aspect of safety across, generally it's raising some concern. And guidelines in particular, you realize quite a number of accidents and incidents involve returning nationals who've been out for quite some time, and for visitors who are outside of our shores, outside of our territories in particular. And no disregard to them. They come out wanting to have fun, wanting to express themselves, because they understand Grenada is paradise.
Yes.
And as I followed some of the things happening outside, the impression about Carnival in Grenada, some of the countries and people I associated with over the last couple of days, they spoke of Grenada's Carnival and what they're seeing from the distance and wanting to be part of the experience. So that's widely shared. But as we ride the momentum of the Carnival, our biggest or largest event that brings most people together, I think we have to move faster than we are and not playing catch up. So we started that conversation, the police and myself. We're also looking for, not just myself, but our foundation, the I'm Safer. We are also looking for stakeholders to generate a wider platform of information and avenues and conduits where people can get information relative to Grenada's sites and on the road in particular. Again, I said I followed the traffic statistics, and quite a a number of persons, and maybe we should look for more definite statistics in terms of the number of persons who are visiting, who are involved in accident over that period of time.
Yeah.
That could inform the process a little bit better as to how we generate and the pace at which it goes. But the concern for the lack of information about our roads and our areas of recreation and sites of activities and so on, fun-going areas, we definitely need to expand on that. And so our foundation will be driving, in particular, the road safety issue. So what we've done, we've generated a draft in terms of information that we believe could be shared, and it will become permanent, basically. I hope it could be also prominent, because road safety and visitors will not be just around Carnival. People are coming through. I think we're having an earlier cruise ship season this year, because we have a ship calling today, I think, or tomorrow, but this week for sure.
I think it's tomorrow. We do have a cruise ship up.
Every year in August sometimes, or in July we get one or two.
Right. So
usually it starts in October, but sometimes we do get those early calls.
That's correct. And maybe sooner rather than later, we may have, like in most of the countries, cruise ship comes throughout the year, because we only have a wet and a dry season. We don't have 4 seasons and all of that. And now we're getting less rainfall and so on. So Grenada is still widely established, not just as the Isle of Spice or pure Grenada, but it's also referred to as paradise. And so the understanding or the cap of being paradise, people tend to believe that they could just drop the guard down. And as I speak about guard down, the other aspect of the security awareness, where they believe that their homes cannot be broken into, they cannot be raped or otherwise, the bags and things cannot be taken from them on the beaches. And when people understand that this is paradise, they tend to just drop their guard. And when they realize they're coming in paradise, they believe too that maybe there are angels who are guarding our streets, so there wouldn't be accidents and all that. So they just do and drive anyway. And so we need to be able to guard against that. So one, there's definitely need for us to ensure that in a brochure that you can easily circulate, and the information that could be shared with the GHT, Grenada Hotel and is it Taxi Association or whatever it is?
Grenada Hotel
Tourism Association, GHT. Right, okay, good. I'm supposed to be doing something with them tomorrow. And that speaks on safety just as well. So we want that to be incorporated, and let me use the word institutionalized. I mean, you're going to get it through the system. As a matter of fact, our safety information should be going through TAMCC and all those processes, and using social media platform to punctuate and to spread the information about Grenada's safety. Because when you look at our roads, now I see that we're paving a bit more. The markings on our roads. Someone suggested earlier to me that if we try to establish where the middle of the road is, it could add to greater safety by putting a white line, straight down the middle, so that people understand where. And it would add as something for police to use when they're marking for accidents just as well. Easier to figure out who was holding on better to the side.
Well, I must say that I've seen some road markings recently happening. Roads that's being done now.
The new road,
Windsor Forest, Vincent's, the Cliff. The road markings are,
and it is visible very well.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So one of the common things that we see in the south of the island, in particular along the strip of highway, Morris Bishop Highway, again that area that needs overpass, walkover. But we see many times people are overtaken on the left.
Yes.
That is a no-no. And we've seen a few times accidents occur because people try to overtake on the left.
On the left, yeah.
So as we speak, on that strip of road, it is our intention to establish, or to get permission to establish, a couple of road signs that should remind people that you drive on the left and you overtake on the right. I think that's a reminder, because two things. It confuses people, and a lot of the students at times, the St. George University students at times, are these persons who sometimes come in, they would get their brief as well, but when you're coming and you're used to driving on the right side of the road and all of that, naturally you feel as though you should overtake. Because that look like a white space. You see somebody driving on the right side and the whole left side is empty. So you just would, I've seen our regular drivers do that, but it's really dangerous.
So you're saying we should be driving on the right, stay on the right as always?
No. You drive on the left.
On the left.
Stay on the left.
Overtake on the right.
Overtake on the right.
That's correct.
Well, I sometimes I think, and maybe I'm guilty of that, I will probably stay on the right, right? If I'm going directly to the Maurice Bishop Highway,
right?
I will stay on that side of the road.
And then you would, providing you are keeping with the speed limit, you would have somebody stripsing or using a few obscene behind you because they want to pass.
At times I have seen, if it's done early in the morning, someone will be behind you and keep flashing their lights.
That's correct. So they want you to get to the left so that they could pass, because that person understands it. So now you see how useful that information package is. So if and our locals need to also know that it is only fair that if you're cruising down and you're staying within the speed limit and you're going, somebody
you should
trying to move a little bit quicker.
To the left,
Stay on the left. If you get into the right lane then is the faster lane technically. Now we're talking about lanes. You want to move. So if you're just going down, you would stay on the left. So if somebody wants to move a little bit quicker than you, they would stay on. They would keep the right lane. If you are on the right lane, it means that you should be going at a particular pace where you do not kind of.
But going down that particular piece of road.
Yes.
Now you're going down and you're driving on the right.
Yes.
But you're going into True Blue.
Right.
And you wait until you get to the roundabout to swing.
No, Richard, you put on your indicator to swing. Yeah. No, I'm telling you, they shouldn't do that.
That's what they do.
Yes.
And that to me is a.
So you see,
but it's one of the reasons I stay on the right. If I'm going to the Maurice,
and you're not really wrong.
If you're going to the airport,
I usually stay on that.
Yes,
but you should keeping at a particular keeping within the speed limits, though. Right, you're going.
Yeah,
you understand.
Yeah.
So I will stay there because I'm going straight to the airport. But if I'm going into the True Blue area or so forth,
you stay on the left.
Stay on the next.
Or you get to say one of those Independence or one of them.
So not Independence, Arcado. So
yeah.
So here what?
Brothers and
even before McIntrye, because McIntrye Brothers is almost on the corner.
Right.
So here what? The instruction to road users on that strip of road. You're going to the airport or you're going to True Blue. You should. It doesn't make a difference which of the lanes that you stay on.
Yeah.
But the important thing is indicating your intention. So even if you're going to True Blue but you're on the right lane, when you get to Acado or you pass showing painting, you should start indicating that you want to go left. Okay. Because you're going to True Blue, so that you would switch lane.
Yeah.
And if you are on the left then and you understand you're going toward the airport, then as you get to that point, you start indicating. So the person, I always pay attention to that. Indicate to the person that I am switching lane because that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
So you might be just cooling on that left lane going down, but you know that you want to give people a chance who want to move faster than you. I mean, we're talking here as though it's a whole set of highway. It's a short strip of road. But the information, in my opinion, is really, really important.
Yes. So then you say guidelines though are needed for individuals. What about display boards and even erected signs offering that kind of information, Mr. McIntyre?
No, that is important. That is really critically important. And I'm looking for the first sponsors of electronic, digital signage that we can start putting on in some of these places. Our foundation, we want to champion that cause. Hopefully that some people would come on board and say, listen, that area, as a matter of fact, as you come around the sugar mill roundabout, there could be an electronic board that says, drive on your left, overtake on your right.
Yes.
And along the roadside going down there, we could have a few fixed signs that says, drive on your left, overtake on the right.
Yes.
Because overtaking is not wrong. because the road space is wide enough to be able to overtake, even if it should not be really encouraged. But yeah, there are some people who just don't like to drive at a particular pace. They will drive even under the speed limit.
Yeah,
that's okay. But you want to stay within the speed limit and capitalize on some time. You going slower, stay on the left. The person who wants to go, the person veers to the right. And there's sometimes if another vehicle, you can go back to the left.
But as you mentioned, Sugar Mill roundabout, it brings us back to that point that we made some time ago.
Yeah.
Entrance and exit to Republic Bank. That's a conversation that needs to be had.
We need to really expand on that. I'm hoping with our conversation with Board of Transport and Police that's one of the decisions that definitely they would consider to be useful. That the exit should be lower down and the entrance should be at. It is, in my opinion, and other contributors' opinion, it is upside down.
Yes.
I have spoken to someone in relation to that from within the traffic ban. No, and their argument was no, they have to drive down the entire stretch.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong.
They do just want that shorter distance in order to get out.
Yes.
So but I'm saying that I think it's best that you able to come in from that side.
I think that access
and then you
exit is now,
and you exit lower down,
because you're actually going across the grade when you're doing that.
Yeah.
You have vehicles now just rushing around the roundabout to shoot down there, and you trying to shoot out. It's only a matter of time sometimes when you have an accident. I think we've had a few.
We've had a few
in that area, and now additionally, you see how useful that information could be to visitors. A visitor coming there to go to check their account or whatever it is, and they come out. When you get out there from Republic Bank, where do they really go? What sign tell you should continue going this way or that way?
There's no sign that indicates
exactly.
Other than this,
so a visitor come out there with a rental now and they stay in the middle there and they're confusing. You start the conversation, you ask them about the road rage and some of the things that are happening on our roads. But a lot of these things vex people and causes them to behave in particular ways, and they would do certain things that would lead to other things that would not necessarily be right. So I think we can cut a lot of these down by increasing our information, by putting up proper signage and in some cases some signals, and ensuring that the information packages are generated and included in the visitor information package or booklet so that people would understand it.
Definitely.
Outside of that, we have to increase the campaign. I listened to the police this morning as well, indicating that they would beef up the information process to road users going into the reopening of school later in August. They would be speaking more about that in terms of, again, you have children who have been going to rural schools and now you're coming into the urbanized area where it is a different kind of a thing.
Just a quick note. I don't know if you ever paid attention to it. Young Street, to go with the traffic light area that leads you to Scott Street. I think it's important that the signage is needed around that area. Why? Yes, we understand you can stay on the right and you can go to the Sandal Tunnel area if you come straight.
Yeah,
right.
No, but there are a lot of people who misinterprets the signage, especially with the traffic light. It shows you the direction, but you also thinking you could probably go straight and go that way.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of visitors to the island getting into conflict there. If you get where I'm coming from.
Yes.
So you come down Young Street, and the traffic light, even though the sign on the traffic light indicates you're going there, some get the impression you can go straight and go this way.
Oh, you mean down the carnage?
Go down the carnage.
To walk across left?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But I think some kind of signage is needed there to let folks know maybe you don't go beyond that point, or maybe on the left side.
But what I think they had some marking on the road with
which has disappeared.
I don't know. I haven't driven there for a while. Yeah. So if you on the side on Young Street towards Courts, there is an arrow that points to going straight down and then to make a right.
Yes.
And if you're going up to Scott Street, there is another
individuals who don't follow the arrows.
But you don't see things on the ground most of the time you're driving.
Well, that's true.
You know.
So if you walk,
you're not going to straight ahead all the time, except you look from a distance. But if you're right on it, there sometimes you don't pay attention to the direction of these arrows.
Well, as you mentioned, signage, though, a number of pedestrian crossings, zebra crossings, have disappeared.
Yeah.
There's one in particular by the Grandin Cemetery.
Right.
Right at the bottom of Coffee Bow Hill. That is no more.
Or the length of time it gets to be repaint.
I'm hoping that with the opening of school, all of these will be done.
I guess with the road work in the south lately, for the previous months, a lot of them
No, you're absolutely right.
You're right.
I think a lot of these have been suspended pending the completion of those road works.
Yeah.
But I think while the grass is growing, the house is starving, the risk still exists.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, it may cost something, but it's good. You can still paint it, and when the road works come up,
you repaint it again. Because I have seen a couple persons almost get knocked down in that area.
You remember one time, GT, we made an appeal for us as a foundation to be either contracted or be given the support to take responsibility for pedestrian crossings in particular areas. And
any feedback given on you?
I've not no feedback, really. So maybe I should formalize my request, send it in some places and so on. Maybe to government, our transport board. But I think somebody said there's the responsibility for crossings and road signs, it rests with it, and there are people contracted already for that in some instances.
I usually do see police officers doing it.
Well, police have an implied responsibility for maintaining and ensuring. Police took that up, and it stayed with police. It's really the Ministry of Works and Transport that are responsible for road sign and maintaining.
Yeah.
But police understand that they have to enforce law, took it up, and it became like
so the ministry would supply the police with the paint, and they get.
So we say we could make the process a lot more simple. So if the foundation is entrusted with a responsibility, we can seek volunteers throughout communities. So if you have people within the Grandins area closer to the Coffee Bow, and a group of people can say, well, you have responsibility to ensure that this, and we provide them with the paint, they will do it.
Yeah.
So there are some people in the Grandins Valley, somewhere area, and say, we have this pedestrian cross there. You have community leaders who would take up that responsibility. Yeah. Maybe a church, maybe a group or something and so on. And we say, every time this thing goes out, it's your responsibility. We'll help you with the paint and so on. You have corporate Grenada people with businesses.
They would want
to provide paint and so on, or the money to be able to source it. You have what you call answer. You call the citizens people now,
and some
answer coating.
And these people, I'm almost sure and showing they can probably source the kind of a paint, reflective paint, yellow or white, that you can use. And they told me, I inquired when I was told that the kind of a paint that we need, we can't find it, and so people just use non-drip paint, white or otherwise, weather guard something, and just throw it on the road, and then it lasts a couple weeks and it is gone. The proper paint that almost gets into the asphalt, it exists.
And so there was a portion just around by the No Problem area on the way down to the airport with white markings, shoulder and so on, and that's been there for years,
right?
Because it was the correct
paint.
Well, the road has been redone there now, so hopefully it will get the proper markings when it's.
In our next segment, we hope to bring in some of the ideas we have from Master Control to show.
Yeah, in the next segment when we do come back. Let's take that break. We'll be right back. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
How far can a government go when it disagrees with a judge's decision, and where does legitimate criticism end and interference with the judiciary begin? Recent comments by Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown has sparked a major regional debate over judicial independence, sentencing, and the separation of powers. Could similar concerns arise here in Grenada? Join Colin Dow this Monday at 8:30 p.m. on Beyond the Headlines with attorneys Lady and Dandy Trotman Joseph and Ruggles Ferguson as we examine government, judges, and the rule of law. It's Beyond the Headlines, Monday 8:30 p.m. only on GBN.
Grenada, we're back again. Faith Pentecostal Tabernacle presents Turning Point 4, the grand finale, taking place at the Gateway Conference Center, Saturday, September the 5th, 2026 at 7 p.m. sharp. Come and find out what will happen to Officer Brown. Will he finally get married? How about Sheila? Will she ever stop the gossip and have a turnaround? How about the ghost, Raymond? Will he ever be found? All these and more will be answered at Turning Point 4, the grand finale. Your tickets cost $50 more at the door. Don't forget your ticket outlet, Gittins Pharmacy, St. George, and Grand Anse. Turning Point 4, the finale.
Should I have seen that? Listen to me. Don't question, I'm gifted. Okay?
Your Honor, something has to be wrong here.
No, nothing is wrong.
Brothers and sisters, I'm blocking out.
A new school year means new opportunities, but it also means new expenses. From uniforms and books to laptops, transportation and school supplies, Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited is here to help. Apply for a back-to-school loan and give your child the confident start they deserve with affordable financing and friendly service from the credit union you know and trust. Visit your nearest Grenville Cooperative Credit Union branch or call us today for more information. Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited, helping members build brighter futures, one school year at a time.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Mr. McPhail, Mr. McIntrye, welcome back. In this segment, we want to, of course, enlist the help of Master Control. We did forward some photos to them earlier.
Yes.
Indicating some signings and so forth that we want to have incorporated, and you speak a whole lot about that. I'm not sure if Master Control have them already ready for us.
Yeah.
And so that we could chime in with them. Master Control, if you do, you could start popping them up if it's already available. Right. So we can take a peek into
so the essence of this segment here that it would be amplified or expanded a bit more. It looked like a lot of information. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But what we are intending to do in collaboration with the police, and we're using this platform as a little bit of consultation from people who may see this or may have the idea as to how they think, what kind of information as we intend to create this new platform that visitors need to know, simplified information.
Yeah.
So as we were speaking earlier on, some of our streets, some of the signs on the road, they are sometimes not very obvious. Sometimes we move around and something for us, we could understand it, but for visitors it may not. So it makes sense to expand some more on some information for people to be able to read. And as I mentioned before, having the electronic means. So that is an idea that we came up with in terms of Grenada. When you trying to visit Grenada and you're going outside looking for road safety, how you should drive, it should say to you, in Grenada, you drive on your left. The left is the right side to drive on.
Yes.
And which is the correct side.
Could this always be done? Could this also be available, especially when visitors coming to the island via the airport?
Yes.
Yeah.
Laminated, booklet or the sort where they could have these things given out to them.
Yes.
So maybe even though you
and the rental
companies can have them available.
Yes.
Have them within the car that they're renting. So
correct.
Could view. I'm not saying you should read while you're driving.
No.
But you get a chance to take a couple of minutes and view these and view that. These are the rules and regulations in terms of how we drive it.
Yes.
Basic rules and that you follow.
Yes.
Which will certainly help a whole lot. It will eliminate some of the chaos we see from time to time, especially with visitors visiting the island.
Yeah.
You understand? It can eliminate the chaos that we see from time to time.
And I think the traffic department, they do on the site, I think on the RGPS site, they have the licensing process for visitors in terms of what you need to produce
to get your temporary
or otherwise. And so we think accompanying that should be the information expanded as to how you should drive. You give way to traffic on your right. And some people tend to believe as well that is only at roundabout.
No.
Yeah.
And so wherever there is a confusion as to who should go first or otherwise, the point is you always give way to the person who is on your right.
Yeah.
And that's easy.
It doesn't necessarily mean a roundabout.
It doesn't necessarily mean a roundabout. And sometimes a lot of people don't even understand that, and they quarrel and they end up in fight and
that's where the road rage I spoke about earlier
would come
comes into play now.
Yes. And in terms of what does the law say about the use of gadgets or other things that you may have in your vehicle? What does the law say about lights? What does the law speak about, or what is the regulation in terms of parking, where you should park, and our corners and those kinds of. So quite a few simple information, things that we can get and put into those vehicles and so on. In terms of capacity and insurance conditions that people need to be aware of, those are some things that could be included in the information process. And I think as we showed that little information booklet or brochure, you highlight Grenada in a nice way, aspect of Grenada's road, and even areas where there are vulnerabilities, where there might be slide areas that might be prone to flood and so on. You can highlight those areas that are prone to rockfall and these issues and so on. So you
have that beforehand knowledge.
And off-roads and so on.
Yes.
In some cases, some people want to go off-road in some of the roads with vehicles that are not four-wheel drive.
Yes.
Not four-wheel, and they get there and they get into some problems and so on. Those kind of information could also be included into that. What to do when there is an accident? Should you call the police, or should you just accept liability and write up or otherwise, and then you can't find the person or all that? Those kind of information too, which would be complemented by some. So it's written, and then you give some simple indicators as to exactly what people should be looking at. I think sooner or later we will involve callers to see what they think as we enhance.
I mean, we could do this in this segment where callers who are paying attention to the screen right now, as you look at that, if your views on it, maybe they could give ideas where this could be enhanced or even more than it already is. Certainly do that. 435-2041 as we move through the conversation. We do have our first caller, and let's hear this. Let's get feedback from this caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Hi. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, sir.
And to your distinguished gentlemen. Now, I'm happy to hear Mr. McIntrye mention about roundabouts. Now, I negotiate a very busy roundabout there by the sugar mill often. And I want to find out if there's a difference between giving way and overtaking. To me, you give way if you and the person arrive at a point where it's kind of up in the air and one gives way to the other. But sometimes you're all the way up, almost to the top of that little hill there, and somebody's overtaking you almost at the point of the pedestrian crossing, and they behave as though they have a right. Is giving way on a roundabout the same as overtaking? Does someone have a right to overtake you on a roundabout because they're on the right of you? I would like you to clarify that for me, please.
Caller, thank you. I know exactly what that caller is. You know when you come from the airport, and you are on the left. There are some people who enter the roundabout later than you are. So they would come in and they would keep to the right of you. Right? Yes. So you're on the left coming from the airport heading towards St. George, going towards CK's. Right. And the person will just come right ahead and will just slide and overtake you. That is not the right thing to do. Oftentimes, the person on the left would sometime, with good common sense and what not to get into confrontation, would probably slow down and yield to that person.
I usually do that.
But that is not something that should happen, to be honest. It's really unfair for somebody who entering the roundabout later than you, who've been sitting there and are waiting for the traffic to flow, and for someone who is about to come across the pedestrian crossing that is ahead, and somebody would just cut across. I think that is indiscretionate, ill-disciplined type driving, and I don't know how you regulate it. It's not necessarily enshrined to say it is an offense, but it is just that it is a principled thing that people should have understand that this person was there before you, and not because you came across on the right, it means that they owe you the right to allow you to go, or you should overtake them. It is not the right thing to do.
How could that be? How could that be fixed in the simple way of saying it?
Again, though, before we get to fixing it, there's a contradiction here.
Tell me.
Because you have to give way to traffic on your right.
Yes.
Right. So the person coming is on your right. You're coming from the airport, coming up on that little incline. The person is on your right. So you have to yield to them.
Yield to them, but that doesn't. it becomes
have some complications.
It becomes not. It is not really too complicated, but it depends on personalities of individual technically. Because, if I enter in there and there was somebody there, I would allow that person to drive and then get behind them because I met them there.
Right. But what happens there? A lot of times, the police or the warden who's there would call the person, right? Let you stop and call the person coming on your right.
But it is not wrong, and the police owe us and have the right to regulate for the free flow to avoid congestion. So despite you may need to give way to traffic on your right, he may allow still the person on the left to go ahead because there need to be more flow coming from that direction based on the volume of traffic. So the police can do that. But a simple way of avoiding that, yes, is to give way to persons on your right. But what we're saying is that the discretion or the unreasonable expectation of somebody who's met you there and just want to rush past, I think is what the caller is referring to, and they just try to overtake.
We do have another caller via WhatsApp. What's up, your life? Good morning, welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Go right ahead, please.
Good morning.
Yes, what I realize, whenever it rains, the pedestrians crossing will be very slippery. Could they make it a little more like rugged so it could get more traction? Because it does be very slippery when you're crossing.
Thank you, caller.
Good consideration.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, caller. And I think that has to do again with the quality of paint that is being used and the surface.
All right, we do have another caller via WhatsApp. What's up, your life? Good morning, welcome.
Good morning, GT, and good morning,
sir.
Gentlemen.
Good morning.
Thank you, sir. And I just want to, in regards to the statement, I heard you all made a statement earlier on in regards to going down the Morris Bishop Highway, stating that you should drive on the left and allow people to overtake you on the right. But if you are going at the maximum speed limit on the right, going down the highway, then going on the left would then put you at risk. Now also, there may be breakage, and there may be gap swinging out that would cause certain difficulties for persons who travel on the left, going down the Morris Bishop Highway. Now, inadvertently, if a person sticks to the right, he's more secure and well protected in his driving. Thereby, that's why most drivers, I would see, would actually stick to the right to ensure that they don't get into that problem. Now, somebody may come from the back and may try to overtake. Now, simply, if the person is overtaking and you're driving particularly slow, you swerving to the left to allow them to pass is quite easier than you sticking only to the right, than you sticking only to the left. Because if you stick only to the left, it may cause you difficulties trying to navigate around the gaps and trying to navigate around the breakage in the road, since there is no a walking path on the left of that road, on the side of that road. So it becomes a difficulty for pedestrians who want to walk down the stretch. That becomes a difficulty for them, and they might be running in the road. So driving out totally to the right might be the best part for them to do. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, caller. Thank you.
So I respect that caller's contribution, and actually what we're trying to refer to generally in Grenada, you're supposed to be driving on the left.
On the left.
You're supposed to be driving on the left. But the caller raised something that is embedded in the conversation: safety of other road users in terms of pedestrians. It is something that we advocated for and mentioned earlier in our program, that strip of road on the left where all of these businesses are established, that other side, both sides of the Morris Bishop Highway should have sidewalks. And it is to this point, in my opinion, inexcusable, unacceptable that's my personal opinion, that side where you have businesses and otherwise, and pedestrians and persons who walk that side all the time, people get off from vehicles and to cross over to the other side. So one, you cannot get off on a safe area on the left because vehicles are coming down there. And two, it is difficult for you to cross over to get to the opposite side because there is no overpass. So you have to be at the mercy of a policeman, in the case by Ramdanis where the children are crossing, to stop the traffic, or conscious drivers who would slow down, put their hazard lights on to allow people to cross. I think in this modern day, to be honest, it hurt me a lot. Really a lot at this point. We're being advocating for almost 3 years for things like this to happen, and we have not seen any movement in that direction. It is really sometimes becoming painful to understand and to see how people are exposed to that level of danger. After 3 years, we've been clamoring since the unfortunate death of my son on that highway. We just believe that, one, it should be more safe, where people can walk safely when they go to business down that left strip of road, and there's adequate space. There's sufficient space in front of every business entity on that left side of the road to have sidewalk. Okay. Just as they have on the right. So that what the caller is saying, they make good sense. But I think we need to enhance that strip of road 2 ways. Put sidewalk and an overpass that people can get over to the other side.
Right. The thing about this sidewalk though, I'm just thinking, you have a number of businesses, as you said, right? Both entrance, exits, and so on. The breweries have a car park and so on. So you'd have to make certain allowances in terms of the sidewalk. Yeah. But it could be done.
No, you just have to adjust where the entrances are for certain places. Yeah. You do that in other parts of the world generally. You have businesses and some aspect of it goes right onto the sidewalk.
If you have to cut a driveway and
you cut it. And as a matter of fact, you should make it for people with disability or some challenge. You'd make it in such a way that they could have access. If they have to get into a bus or they have to get up from a vehicle.
And they have the bus stops there.
Of course. I think that.
We have another caller. Caller your lights. Good morning. Welcome.
Yes, sorry, I'm just coming back for a short minute, please, if you allow me. I agree that sidewalks and lane demarcations will assist. But apparently Mr. McPhail misunderstood what I asked earlier on. Now, I am not saying that if you meet at the roundabout, there is no doubt at a roundabout you give way. But there must be a point where you are no longer on the roundabout, where someone cannot just come and overtake you from the right. Now the bus drivers do it all the time, you know. On a rush hour, they move from the left lane into the right, so that when they get beyond the roundabout, they can just overtake you, or just before the roundabout. So I think there must be a point beyond which it is no longer giving way. It's a point at which where now it's become like an overtaking, a dangerous overtake close to a pedestrian crossing. So I'm talking about beyond that. There must be a mark, probably a yellow line or something that says you don't overtake beyond that point. You pass the point of giving way. Now at this point, no overtaking should take place. That's all the point I'm trying to make here.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
Before we accept the other caller, just to expand on what this last caller has just said, I think in terms of road signs and everything, the Sugar Mill roundabout requires a total remaking. You should shrink it a bit and put some more. So, for instance, coming from St. George, there should be two lanes on the ground that says if you're going straight ahead, you stay on that side. If you're going around the roundabout, if you're coming from St. George, and as you mentioned, a yellow line saying at that point is your dead point, where it is no longer yielding, but it is an overtaking. And in addition to that, the police who are often positioned there, they will have to be, and most time they are, the police and the warden, in terms of issuing tickets for people who just kind of do those kind of indiscriminate kind of driving otherwise.
Okay, we do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp, you're live. Good morning, welcome.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm just wanted to point out a few little things. In terms of road education, that's where maybe we have to go back, right, and maybe re-educate some of the drivers. There is an issue, first of all, of the pedestrian crossings. Now, every pedestrian crossing should be signposted off the road. off the sidewalk, so on each side of the road. So even if there was roadworks done, after the roadwork is finished, the signposts are still there so that drivers know it's a pedestrian crossing on both sides of the road, right? Maybe we have not got to that standard yet. As per giving way, it is simple if you were brought up, back in the day when I passed my license here first, I know that you always give way to traffic on your right. If you're coming out of a T-junction, it doesn't matter how long you've been at the T-junction. If there is something coming on your right, you give them way, unless you realize there is enough time that you can turn out safely. Because if you were to do that unsafely in an examination, you will fail. The problem is a lot of people get the license, and after getting the license, they forget all the things that they did to get the license. So we can bang on as much as we want with regard to people doing this and people doing that. You know, it's like I complain all the time about the bus drivers because I do not understand how they're on the road, but they are on the road. If, for instance, you have what you call mystery shoppers that get on the buses, the drivers don't know that they're mystery shoppers, meaning that they just go on there to assess their driving. A lot of them would lose their driver's license. A lot of them, right? The same with people. You can't do that for private car owners, but obviously in a sector like the bus especially, I think it was one of the things that could be looked into to make sure that we have a certain standard. And, you know, as I will go back and say, they do the right thing to get the test, the license, and after they get the license, they start doing the wrong thing. I mean, it's like there's a painted pedestrian crossing in front of the police headquarters on the Carenage, and you have to walk out in the road for them to stop. And they see you stood there waiting to cross the road. And I'm not just talking bus now, I'm talking about cars, vans, everybody. And then when you do step out in the road, they're tooting you down as if you did something wrong. But pedestrians actually have the right of way all the time.
Caller, I'm going to actually take another 10 seconds and wrap, please. Okay. We're strapped for time.
All right, yeah. Well, sorry for going on this long. But hopefully, maybe something that I've said might be taken into consideration. Thank you,
caller. Thank you so much. Appreciate your contribution. The caller that said a whole lot, that made a whole lot of sense.
You almost summarized.
So let me drew for time. Yep. Already 3 minutes after the hour already, which means it's time for us to take a wrap for today. Anything in closing before we take a wrap this morning?
It was a very good program. We got some good contributions from our callers, and we look forward to forming up on that brochure.
Yeah. So as we look forward, just remember road safety again is everybody's business, and our visitors or returning persons from the diaspora, they are important as every national, and we must be able to safeguard them and safeguard our lives by ensuring the instruments are there for road safety.
Thank you, both gentlemen, once again. Until we do this again next week, once your money permits. When we come back next week, probably be talking back to school.
Back to school.
We go back to school in August. Hey, folks, have a good one. That's how we say goodbye for today's edition of To The Point.